What's up, guys? We have some breaking news here. Tesla has just been ordered to pay out $329 million over a fatal crash that occurred in 2019 where the company's Autopilot was found to be negligent. Now, this is one of the most important cases against Tesla in regards to their self-driving tech and Autopilot. And this is probably going to have huge ramifications moving forward. Let's discuss everything that you need to know right here on this channel. So this case was filed by a woman named Mohammed. She was a passenger in a 2016 Tesla Model X that was using Autopilot when it crashed into a concrete divider on a highway in California. The lawsuit claims that Tesla's Autopilot was actually at fault for the accident, not the driver. Now the jury ruled that Tesla was 49% responsible for the crash. Which is interesting because this is the first time that we've seen a jury assign more blame to a vehicle manufacturer than to the actual driver. This was an important case because it could set a precedent for future cases involving accidents that occur with the use of Autopilot. The ruling could also impact how much auto insurance companies charge drivers who use Autopilot. The jury awarded $29 million to Ms. Mohammed for her injuries, $22 million to the estate of her late husband, $21 million to her daughter, and then an additional $15 million in punitive damages. Now, the judge in the case did reduce the original amount that was awarded by the jury, but this was still a significant amount compared to previous rulings. This ruling opens up a lot of questions around Tesla's Autopilot and what the company will do moving forward. So let's take a look at all the details surrounding this lawsuit. So in 2019, couple was driving their Tesla Model X in California when they turned on Autopilot, and then they both fell asleep before the car crashed into a concrete divider on the side of the highway. The driver woke up after the crash and he called 911. He claimed that he had fallen asleep while driving. However, investigators later found that the car's Autopilot system had been engaged for about 20 minutes before the crash. The National Transportation Safety Board said that the Autopilot system had been repeatedly warned about the high risk of imminent collision, but the system failed to prevent the crash. They also noted that the driver had been warned about the system's limitations, and he had acknowledged these warnings. In February 2021, the California Highway Patrol released a report on the crash. They stated that neither driver was impaired nor under the influence of drugs or alcohol at the time of the collision. There were no mechanical failures that would have caused or contributed to the collision, and therefore the probable cause of the collision was the driver falling asleep. However, the investigation also uncovered some very concerning facts. 1. The driver had pressed the gray log button on the steering wheel 5 times in the 30 minutes prior to the collision, indicating that the driver was likely still attentive and awake. 2. There was no evidence that the driver had pressed the gray log button after the automatic emergency braking event and before the collision, meaning that Tesla sensors did not detect that the driver had become unresponsive until it was too late. This information led the family to file a wrongful death lawsuit against Tesla. The family's lawyers argued that Tesla's Autopilot was at fault for the crash, not the driver. They claimed that the system should have been able to detect that the driver was unresponsive, and it should have been able to take control of the vehicle and avoid the crash. Now, this case was closely watched by legal experts, industry analysts, and the public because it could set a precedent for future cases involving accidents that occur with the use of Autopilot. The ruling could also impact how much auto insurance companies charge drivers who use Autopilot. And now, with the introduction of FSD Beta and the push towards full self-driving, we are likely going to see many more cases like this pop up in the future. Finally, let's talk about Elon Musk's involvement with all of this. As we all know, Elon is the CEO and chief designer of Tesla. He is heavily involved in the development of the company's vehicles and their technology. In particular, he is a strong advocate for the use of artificial intelligence, and he believes that it can be used to create a fully self-driving car. Elon has made some bold claims about Autopilot in the past. For example, in 2019, He tweeted that Tesla would have a fully self-driving car by 2020. Of course, that didn't happen, but he is still very optimistic about the technology. In fact, just last month, Elon claimed that FSD Beta is already safer than a human on the road. If this is true, then why did Tesla lose this case? Well, it's hard to say. Maybe the jury simply didn't believe Elon's claims about Autopilot. Or maybe they felt that Tesla's marketing of the technology was misleading. What do you think? I would love to hear your thoughts on this one. Let me know in the comments below. As always, if you want to continue to learn about everything regarding Tesla, SpaceX, and Elon Musk, we've got 2 more video options for you on the screen to check out. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up today if you liked it, and subscribe for weekly content just like this.